Welcome to Numbers Simplified. In this channel, we seek to simplify and solve numerical problems. Today, we'll be looking at completing the squares of quadratics. This is part 3 of the quadratics series. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. Let's dive into today's business. Completing the squares is a method of expressing a quadratic expression, ax squared plus bx plus c, in the form x plus d squared plus e, where a, b, c, d, e are elements of real numbers. Let's look at the steps of completing the square. Case 1. Let's consider a to be equal to 1 in our quadratic expression and the b and c not equal to 0, so that we have x squared plus bx plus c. 1. We need to place x and half of the coefficient of x, b in the squared brackets or parentheses, such that we have x plus b over 2 squared. The second step. Subtract the square of half of the coefficient of x, adding the constant term c, so that we have the squared term minus b over 2 squared plus c, or in short, x plus h squared plus k, where h is equal to b over 2 and k is equal to minus b over 2 squared plus c. Let's check the procedure. Expand the expression x plus b over 2 squared minus b over 2 squared plus c. So we expand each and every bracket or parenthesis we have curved here, so that we start with the first curved brackets. We are going to have this part which we have in the squared brackets or parenthesis, x squared plus 2 times b over 2x plus b over 2 squared minus b over 2 squared plus c. This gives us x squared plus bx minus b over 2 squared minus b over 2 squared plus c. So the b over 2 squared will cancel out, so that we go back to our original expression, x squared plus bx plus c shown. Let's look at example 1. Express in the form x plus a squared plus b of x squared minus 4x minus 8. The solution. So we see from the question, a is 1, b is minus 4, b over 2 is minus 2, and c is minus 8. From the formula, we are going to substitute these values in the formula, so that we have x minus 4 over 2 squared minus 4 over 2 squared minus 8. Simplifying that, we would get x minus 2 squared minus 2 squared minus 8. And simplify further, we get that up until we get to x minus 2 squared minus 12. So that's the whole point there. Let's look at example 2. So for example 2, we are meant to express x squared plus 7x plus 1 in that form given there. So the solution, we identify our coefficients of x squared, x, and the constant term. A is 1, b is 7, b over 2, 7 over 2, and c equal to 1. So recall from the formula that we had, this one right there, we substitute so that we have x plus 7 over 2 squared minus 7 over 2 squared plus 1. So whether the sign is positive or negative in the first curved parenthesis or brackets, we would always subtract the square of that half. Right, simplify further, we would get that, so that eventually we get x plus 7 over 2 squared minus 45 over 4. Now, let's look at steps of completing the square. Case 2. Let's consider this time around a is equal to 1, b not equal to 0, and c being equal to 0. so that we have the expression x squared plus bx. So dealing with this, we'll do the same thing. Place x and half of the coefficient of xb in the squared brackets or parenthesis. Right, so we have that, so that we have also in the second step subtracting the square of the half of the coefficient of x, so that we have x plus b over 2 squared minus b over 2 squared. So remember, we always subtract that. Or in simple terms, we would simply have x plus h squared plus k. This time around, the h is b over 2 and the k is minus b over 2 squared. Now let's look at example 3. Express in the form x plus a squared plus b that x squared plus 8x. So the solution, we know that a is 1, b is 8, c is 0, and b over 2 becomes 4. So with that then, substituting into the formula that we had, where we don't have a c because c is equals to 0, we would have that. Then simplifying, or rather substituting first, we would have that, and then of course simplifying, we would get x plus 4 squared minus 4 squared, and simplifying further, we would get our final answer as x plus 4 squared minus 16. Let's look at example 4. Expressed in the form that, and we have x squared minus 3x. So in the solution, a is 1, b is minus 3, b over 2 is minus 3 over 2, and the c is 0, obviously. Now from the formula of case 2, we are going to have that. Then substituting into that, then we have x minus 3 over 2 squared minus 3 over 2 squared. And of course, we need to simplify our work so that we get x minus 3 over 2 squared minus 9 over 4. That's how we go about it. Now let's look at the steps of implementing the square. So completing the square rather. So steps of completing the square, case 3. So this time around, we are saying our a is not equal to 0 or 1, but our b is not equal to 0 and our c is not equal to 0 as well. So now we have ax squared plus bx plus c. So the first thing that we have to do is to make the coefficient of x squared be equal to 1 by dividing throughout by a and factoring out the a, so that we get that expression. As you can see, we have factored out the a, and all the other terms are divided by a because the a is outside. When we multiply with the a into the square bracket or parenthesis, we go back to the expression we had there above. So the second thing is to place x and half of the new coefficient of xb over a in the squared parenthesis or brackets, so that we have x plus b over 2a squared. Step 3. Subtract the square of the half of the new coefficient of x from c over a, so that we have x plus b over 2a squared minus b over 2a squared plus c over a. Or, in short, x plus h squared plus k, where our h is b over 2a and our k is minus b over 2a squared plus c over a. Let's take a look at example 5. So we are expressing 3x squared minus 12x minus 1 in the form that is given there. So the first thing that we have to make sure of is that the coefficient of x squared is equal to 1. And we do so by factoring out the 3, so that we have in the square parenthesis or brackets x squared minus 4x minus 1 over 3. From there, we just implement the normal completing the squares formula approach. So we take half of the coefficient of x, which is now minus 4, and we substitute into the formula there that is given, so that we have, so the 3 remains outside, and the half of minus 4 is 4 over 2 squared minus 4 over 2 squared minus 1 over 3, which is the c over a. Now, simplifying this one further, we are going to get to that stage, meaning that our final answer becomes 3 times x minus 2 squared minus 13. So from what we have here, in that form that is given, the c is minus 13 and the b is minus 2, the a is 3. Let's look at example 6. Now, example 6, we have 2 plus 5x minus 3x squared, and we are meant to express it in that form that is given there. Right, so the first thing, as usual, is to rearrange this quadratic expression in the descending order of the powers of x, so that we have the minus 3x plus 5x plus 2, because it's easier for us to see what terms are missing and what terms are there. The second thing would be to factor out the coefficient of x squared, so that we have it as a 1. So we factor out the minus 3 outside the square bracket or parenthesis, so that we have inside the parenthesis x squared minus 5 over 3x minus 2 over 3. Remember from the formula of case 3 that we are going to substitute. So the half of minus 5 over 3, which is the coefficient of x, would be then minus 5 over 6, so that we have that in the square parenthesis. And simplify further, we would have that. So now we can introduce the minus 3 back inside the square parenthesis, so that we have that bit there. So this gives us the final answer, 49 over 12 minus 3 times x minus 5 over 6 squared. So we're simply substituting into the formula of the case 3 and simplifying step by step up until we get to the final answer. Let's look at example 7. Express in the form ax plus b squared plus c of x, rather 4x squared plus 20x plus 30. So the solution there, the first thing that we have to take note of is that we have to factor out the coefficient of x squared, so that we are left with 1 as the coefficient of x squared. But I also want you to see the form that we are given here. The a is inside the curved bracket. So we are not going to leave the a outside as we did in the previous examples. So now let's have that in mind. Now, continuing, we are going to find half of the coefficient of x, which is 5 in this case for now. So if we do that, we are going to then be able to substitute into the formula, so that we have is a new step, implying that we are going to have x plus 5 over 2 squared minus 5 over 2 squared plus the 30 over 4. Now with that, we then simplify further what we have in the square parenthesis. We can see that we have 4 times, so in square brackets, x plus 5 over 2 in curved bracket squared plus 5 over 4. And then we are going to actually simplify that by introducing the 4 inside the square parenthesis, so that we have that and the 4 cancelling out, so that we just have a positive 5. Now, so our answer then continuing. So we have repeated our question so that we see the question. And from the previous step, we are going to have that. Remember, our a is inside the curved bracket, the form that we're given. So we need to also do the same thing for this particular problem. Now recall, if you have a plus b over c, that's equivalent to 1 over c times c a plus b, because when you introduce the 1 over c into the curved brackets, you go back to a plus b over c. So with that logic, we are also going to do the same thing. That is to say that we clear the fractions inside the curved bracket, which is the one that was squared, and we do so by taking out the half, but that half is still squared because it's part of the curved brackets or parentheses. Then we need to recall as well that if we have 1 over a times b squared, that's equivalent to having 1 over a squared times b squared. So with that logic as well, we are going to have 4 over 4. So the bottom 4, or the one in the denominator, came from that half that was squared, so that we have 1 over 4 over 4 times the 2x plus 5 squared plus 5. So simplify further, we are going to get our final answer as 2x plus 5 squared plus 5. Take note, our A is equivalent to 2, our B is 5, and our C is 5 as well. Yep. Right, so now let's move on to example 8. Expressed in the form, so similar form of 9x squared minus 42x plus 61. So the solution here, we are going to start by factoring out the 9 so that we have the coefficient of x squared being equal to 1. So this is what we would have. Now with that, then substituting into the formula, the case 3 formula, getting the half of the coefficient of x, which is minus 42 over 9, half would be minus 42 over 18, giving us that. So we simplify further so that we get 9 times x minus 7 over 3 squared minus that and that. So with that, simplifying further, we are going to get 9 times the square bracket of x minus 7 over 3 squared plus 12 over 9. Then we close the square bracket. Now with that, we are going to introduce that 9 inside the square bracket so that we have that bit, and the 9 and 9 cancels out so that we are left with 12. Great then. So remember, we need the coefficient of x inside the curved bracket to be a certain value, and we don't want anything outside the curved bracket that is being squared here. So now we recall from that property we spoke about, then it means that we're going to have a 9 times 1 over 3 times 3x minus 7 all squared plus 12. So with that, then we go on to also recall that when we have that property, we can actually square that fraction so that we have 9 over 9 times 3x minus 7 squared plus 12. And simplify further, we would get to the final step of 3x minus 7 squared plus 12. If you've made it thus far, I say congratulations. I'll leave you with the following task. Express in the form ax plus b squared plus c 25x squared plus 40x minus 4. Make sure you write in the comment section how you solved this problem. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. This could be in the Quadratics series because we're still loading more and more videos. Make sure you don't miss out by subscribing. And remember to share your experience in the sessions, your preferred future topics, questions, concerns, and suggestions. Thank you so much for watching Numbers Simplified. God loves you.